This is not just a screen. A silent epidemic spreading everywhere. Rewiring young minds like addiction. While real life fades away. But what is it doing to them? It's time to take back control.
You ever see a toddler who just won't eat their food unless there's a cartoon playing on a phone? Have you ever wondered what's really going on there? Well, it turns out the impact of that little screen is huge. So huge, in fact, that the latest science shows it's literally changing the brain chemistry of millions of kids. So let's get into it. Let's really understand what this digital epidemic is doing to our children.
To really get a handle on just how massive this change has been, I want to start with a little story. It's a tale of two families. They might look the same on the outside, but on the inside, they are worlds apart.
Okay, so first, picture a living room, maybe back in the 1990s. You can hear conversation, some laughter. There's a real connection. Everyone is there, not just in body, but in mind too. Now, let's fast forward to today. It's the same room, maybe even the same family, but that connection, it's gone. They're like little islands, all in the same room, but mentally floating in their own digital worlds. The sound of real laughter has been replaced by the tiny, tinny sound coming from their headphones. And this quiet, seemingly harmless scene, well, that's where the epidemic begins.
So that family scene I just described, that's not just some one-off story. It's actually part of a much, much bigger trend. And we have the hard numbers to prove it.
And listen, this isn't just researchers pointing fingers. This is what parents themselves are saying. A recent survey in urban India uncovered a really shocking truth. 2/3 of parents, that's 66%, believe their own children are addicted to screens. They're on the front lines, and they're seeing it with their own eyes.
And here's where you see the huge gap between what the experts recommend and what's actually happening. The World Health Organization says kids under 5 should get less than 1 hour of screen time a day. But the average in India? It's more than double that. And for toddlers, kids under 2, the recommendation is 0 screen time. None. Yet they're already averaging over an hour a day. We are blowing past the safety limits here.
And the physical price they're paying is, well, it's undeniable. We're looking at an epidemic of myopia, or nearsightedness, that's on track to hit half of India's children by 2050. The blue light from these screens messes with their sleep, blocking the sleep hormone melatonin twice as much in kids as it does in adults. It's making them obese because when you eat while you're distracted by a screen, you just eat more calories. And it's even physically changing their bodies with something called tech neck. Just looking down at a phone can put up to 27 kilos of pressure on a child's growing spine.
Just let that one sink in for a second. That is not an exaggeration. Researchers have actually found that in some countries, kids spend less time playing outside than prisoners are legally guaranteed in jail. The digital world has literally become their prison yard.
So why is it so hard? Why can't kids, or let's be honest, even us adults, just put the phone down? Well, the answer isn't about willpower. It's about brain chemistry. Let's look at the actual science of how this addiction gets built, one little neuron at a time.
It all really comes down to this one chemical, dopamine. You can think of it as the brain's little reward system. When you do something it likes, it gives you a hit of dopamine, which basically says, hey, that was good, do that again. It's incredibly powerful, super motivating, and it's right at the center of this whole mess.
And right now, there's a chemical battle raging inside your child's brain. On one side, you've got screens giving them these constant, easy hits of dopamine. Every like, every notification, every time they level up in a game, bing, a little pleasure spike. But on the other side, there's real life. Hugging a parent, playing with a friend, that releases a different chemical called oxytocin. That's the one for deep connection, for trust, for long-term happiness. Screens are basically hijacking the brain's reward system, swapping out the deep satisfaction of connection for the cheap thrill of addiction.
And to really understand how powerful that chemical hit is, get this. Researchers found that playing a video game for just a couple of minutes can release as much dopamine in a kid's brain as smoking 10 cigarettes. So we're not just talking about a bad habit here, we're talking about a neurological hit that's on the same level as a seriously addictive drug.
And you know what? This is not an accident.
This content is scientifically engineered to be addictive. Take a super popular show like Cocomelon. It uses these crazy bright colors, non-stop energetic music, and the scene changes every 2 or 3 seconds. Nothing is ever still. It's not just a cartoon, it's a perfectly crafted machine designed to hijack a toddler's brain, making the real, slower world seem totally boring.
All of this constant stimulation isn't just making our kids a little distracted. No, it's actually physically rewiring their developing brains. Let's dig into the long-term and honestly pretty frightening consequences of that.
The data on this is just crystal clear. The research shows a direct link. For babies under 1-year-old, just 1 to 4 hours of screen time a day leads to a 3 times higher risk of communication delays by the time they're 2. You bump that up to more than 4 hours, the risk jumps to nearly 5 times higher. It's simple. The more screen time, the more developmental damage. The impact is so serious that some doctors have started using a new term for what they're seeing: virtual autism. It's not a formal medical diagnosis, to be clear, but it's a name for this group of autism-like symptoms, things like social withdrawal, speech delays, attention problems, that keep showing up in young kids who get way too much screen time. It's a deeply disturbing trend.
And this goes beyond just changing their behavior. We're talking about changing the actual physical structure of the brain. MRI scans have shown that in people who are heavy screen users, the part of the brain responsible for empathy, it's called the anterior cingulate gyrus, can actually shrink. Just think about that. The very technology that promised to connect all of us is physically damaging our ability to connect with each other.
And the stakes? Well, they couldn't be higher. This might be the single most heartbreaking statistic of the screen age. In just the last 5 years, the same 5 years that smartphone use has absolutely exploded, the suicide rate among girls between 10 and 14 years old has gone up by 300%. That correlation, it's a deafening alarm bell that we just can't ignore.
Okay, I know that was a lot of really alarming information, but the goal here isn't to scare you, it's to empower you. So, let's pivot. Let's stop talking about the problem and start talking about the solution. Here is a clear, actionable guide for every parent out there.
All right, the most important rule of all is also the simplest. Your kids are going to copy what you do, not what you say. Trying to lecture them about their screen time while you are glued to your own phone just is not going to work. The research is crystal clear on this. The biggest predictor of a child's screen habits is their parents' screen habits. The change has to start with us.
Okay, so here are 4 practical, non-negotiable rules based on what all the experts are saying. Number 1, follow the WHO's advice. Absolutely no screens for kids under 2. Their brains are just too vulnerable. Number 2, for your older kids, you have to set firm, consistent daily time limits. Number 3, create screen-free zones and times. The dining table and the bedroom. Those should be sacred spaces for connection and for rest. And finally, number 4, all screens off at least 1 hour before bed. Period. Give their brains a chance to power down.
When you take the screen away, you create a space. And that space can be filled with the real magic of being a kid. The alternatives are timeless for a reason. Simple things like building blocks and puzzles, playing board games, reading a book together, singing and dancing, and especially just unstructured outdoor play. These are the things that actually build healthy brains, strong bodies, and family bonds that last a lifetime.
So I want to leave you with this one last thought to chew on. Your child isn't really addicted to the glass and metal in their hand. They're addicted to what that device gives them: constant attention, endless validation, and easy escape from boredom or feeling sad. And when kids can't find those things in the real world, from real people, they're going to look for them in the virtual one. So the ultimate question we all have to ask ourselves as parents is this: what can we give them that the screen can't?